Hello everyone, today is January the 31st, 2018. My name is Rob Smith. I'm a member of the Board of Directors for the Homeowners Association, and I'm going to try to run through a presentation real quick here to give you an idea of a proposal that we're looking at presenting to the neighborhood. It's pretty vague, I know, I apologize. What we're looking at is waste removal services for the entire neighborhood. Right now we provide a service to the townhomes. We're looking at providing a service to the single family homes. And I'm going to tell you right now, this is not something that we're able to include in our current budget. Um, we would have to have more money coming into the homeowner association to cover it. So that's why I'm going to run through the numbers here with you and see what it looks like. Give this information to everybody so that you can make an informed decision. I want to point out that the board of directors is presenting this information to the neighborhood just as a fact-finding piece of info only and an opportunity for the neighborhood to make a decision, yes or no, about this. We are not in any way promoting this. We're not saying the board wants it or doesn't want it. Each member will make it their own decision and vote their own way, just like everybody else in the neighborhood. There's no weighted vote from any particular board member, and this is not a board-only vote. This is a neighborhood vote. It's a new capital service. It's a large increase in the annual dues. Obviously, if you're getting rid of your own trash service and switching over to the HOA, handling it, that means that you should see at least breaking even, but you shouldn't see an increase in your bills going out, is what I'm saying. You'll just see more money going into the homeowner association dues. So the question is, why are we presenting the information? Basically, the board hears these complaints all the time coming in about trash service. We see them on social media, we get them on text messages, the management company gets them, we get them in emails, and it's not a steady thing, but it's pretty consistent that we see them. So we're going to run through some of the reasons that we're looking at this. Some of the complaints people say, they say, hey, we're tired of the multiple companies. You got a different truck coming through every other day of the week, it seems like. It doesn't matter how many trucks come through, there's always going to be another one. The days are inconsistent, and people just kind of get sick and tired. I mean, you got a truck comes through in the morning, even if it's on Mondays. One comes in the morning, one comes in the afternoon. Sometimes a company misses. Now we got a truck coming the next day. So that's the complaint. Same thing with trash cans. All these different companies, all these different days. Trash cans out by the curb at different times. You can never be sure when a trash can's out because the company's coming, or did the person leave the trash container out. So it's one of those things that just makes the neighborhood and people's opinions look bad. They don't like the non-uniform look of it. And then the dollars and cents of it, people are saying, hey, listen, couldn't we get a better price if all of us were on the same company and if it was one big contract? And when we presented the initial information, I was telling everybody, I don't know, we've never tried. We might be able to save money, we might not. As I said, the comments come in on a regular basis. They come in steadily, not constant, but we see them the same reoccurring things, and this is one of them. There are things that the board can address themselves, and we do. There are things that are bigger than just the board, and in that case, we have to make a decision. Is this something we should go to the neighborhood with? Is this something we should talk to the neighborhood about and try to make a decision on? And the answer here is yes, we should. We need to bring this information to a vote so that people can decide one way or the other, and then we can always reference that. If it passes, we can say, hey, we did it. If it doesn't pass, then we can say, hey, we put it out there, people didn't want it, and we can essentially finish with the issue. We can put it aside. Note that I'm pointing out a supermajority is needed. Now, that's still a question. If it's a supermajority of the entire neighborhood, we'll need 68%, which should be about 199 people out of the 293 homes throughout the neighborhood, single family and townhome. And what that means is we're looking at trying to get each home represented in a vote. So proxies would be a large part of that, obviously. Now, an aside on that, one of the things we'll look at is, does it need to be the entire neighborhood? This is only going to affect single families. Townhomes will not see a change in their costs because this doesn't affect them at all. This is a single family dues increase only. So if that's true, we should be looking at 229, which should be 68% of 229, and I don't have that number readily available in front of me, but that would change it. So I may come back and say, hey, we found out for sure from the attorneys we don't need to do that, but we'll look into that and provide you with that. So I looked at what do we need versus what do we want, and I'm bringing that out to the board so that we can say, hey, here's what we got. People have different things throughout the neighborhood. We've got 1 day a week pickup, 2 day a week pickup, small containers for recycling, large containers for recycling, weekly, bi-monthly we're recycling, all these different options. So what do we need? We need trash picked up and taken away. In most cases, there's a few outliers who just take the trash and either dump it at the foxhole or they throw it in the dumpsters of the townhomes, and that is an issue we are looking to completely resolve as well. However, we need trash taken away from our homes. What do we want might be different than what we need, though. There might be something where you want 2 times a week pickup, but you can't afford it because of the cost, or you want a larger trash or recycling bin like one of your neighbors has, but the cost isn't there, or these different things come into play. But the people who have 2 times a week pickup, generally speaking, they need that. They've found through their own personal uses in the neighborhood that that is something they need. So when we looked at that, we talked about contracts with different providers, and they all said the same thing. If you're going to get a contract with us for your neighborhood, it's one big contract. We're not going to have some people on this plan, some people on that plan, a plan A, a plan B, all this stuff or whatever. It has to be one contract, everybody on the same thing. So to that end, what we've said that, okay, based on what we see throughout the neighborhood, here's the type of RFP or proposal we need to be able to bring to the neighborhood. We need twice a week pickup on trash, big can, the wheel out cans that we've all got. We need once a week pickup for recycling, and we need either the small 18 gallons or the large 96 gallon recycling container. So what we're going to pull is all of our proposals. They need to meet those guidelines at least. That's our minimums. Current pricing, what we're seeing, most people fall within these categories. I'm sure there's a few outliers. $15 a month and $17 a month are generally single one-time a week pickup on trash, one-time a week pickup on recycling. Generally, the $15 people are getting once every 2 weeks pickup on their recycling. $22 and $25 are people who are getting twice a week pickup for their garbage, and generally speaking, once a week pickup for recycling. You've got outliers with different things because they've been with companies for a long time, but that's kind of a general representation of what we're seeing. Here's the 2 options that we've got that are being presented to us, and you can compare the savings or the cost increase to your own trash budget. But what we're looking at is option 1 and option 2 are the same in this regard. They both include twice a week pickup for trash. They both include once a week recycling pickup. The difference is option 1, you get a large trash container on wheels like we normally have, and you get a 18-gallon recycling bin, kind of the normal little rectangle recycling bin. When you think of recycling bin, that's it. Option 2, you get 2 of the large trash containers, the 96-gallon wheel-out trash containers. One is for recycling, one is for trash. Again, trash gets picked up twice a week on both plans. Recycling gets picked up once a week on both plans. The differences you can see in cost: $14.64 a month for single family, $16 a month for single family on option 2. Your quarterly costs are $48 for the option 2, $43.92 for option 1, and $175.68 per year for option 1, $192 a year for option 2. In most cases, people should either see a service increase for a small price increase, meaning that they currently get single or get once a week pickup. Now you'll get twice a week pickup for barely any more money, or you will see a price decrease with the same level of service. So that was kind of the goal. We negotiated back and forth a little bit. There hasn't been a lot of pushback when we went back and said, hey, these numbers are great, but I really need a better number. I got an excellent response from the waste companies. So right now, this is our best proposal. This could change before the actual vote, but it would only go down. We would not entertain anything higher, obviously. So what would happen with this? Well, if the vote is approved on the day in question, which we'll probably shoot for March if we can. I don't want to drag this out for months and months. I want the board to have it in hand and to present this to the neighborhood as quickly as possible so that there's not a lot of argument and everything. Now, it's not a rush to not vote. If the neighborhood wants 6-7 months to yell and scream about this and 3 meetings to talk about it or whatever, we'll do that. We can hold special meetings. We can do whatever we need to. But we would like to be able to bring it to the neighborhood quickly so this isn't something that people are at odds over for many months. We get the information out there. We make sure you have everything you need. And then we bring it to the neighborhood and say, let's have a vote. Again, this is not a board vote. This is a neighborhood vote. The board members will vote just like anybody else, but 5 people aren't going to decide to increase the dues this much and to take your trash service over. We would need a supermajority, like I said. Proxies will be allowed, just like any other vote. We allow proxies, so this will be proxy driven, and that means I'm sure we can't get several hundred people to show up to a meeting. It's just too hard for people to make those things. However, I'm sure somebody can collect all their neighbors' proxies. So I would say if you're for the vote, get out and collect proxies. If you're against the vote, get out and collect proxies. I would not rely on your side just happening to win. If you are for this or against this, if we bring it to the neighborhood and nobody shows up to vote and you really wanted it, it is not going to happen because the vote will consist of, honestly, if we don't have enough people to vote for that supermajority, I think we need 20% to even have a vote. So if we don't have at least 20% represented, we're not even going to have a vote. If you want it, you're going to have to push for it just as much as if you don't want it. What would happen beyond that? If the vote went through, we would make sure to notify everybody, hey, the vote passed in writing. We'll send it to you in the mail. Here's when you're going to need to make your first increased quarterly payment. After that, your quarterly payments will be this much. Of course, we'll prorate it to whenever the service starts. We're not going to increase it automatically and pass along this, not pass along the savings. Whenever the increase starts off, that's what we'll start off with our contract. So if it's half of a month's or half of a quarter half a month service going in, it's $7 instead of 14. That's how it'd be rated out. So we'll make sure everybody knows when the payment needs to be made. We'll make sure everybody knows how much the payment needs to be. We'll get that out there. Members will need to contact their own service providers and say, hey, we don't need service anymore. If you have renters and they're currently providing their own service provider, you'll need to let them know, hey, you need to cancel your service provider because you're getting ready to have service provided by the HOA, and then tell them this is your new cost for your trash service. So I would pass that cost along to them. I wouldn't pick it up myself if I was a landlord. And we'll do what we can to help you out with if you need a letter drafted up or something. We can certainly make sure we do something like that to explain it to people. Again, we'll try to have the vote during a regular scheduled board meeting. That way we're not creating an odd meeting that confuses people. We've already got them posted on the website. I'd like to shoot for March, like I said, so that I could just get this out there, rip the Band-Aid off, and let people make a decision. We can adjust that. If somebody is saying that's not enough time, you're trying to rush this through, or you think something shady is happening with it where the board is trying to do something to control or manipulate either for or against it, that's not it at all. The goal is to get this out there quickly again so that people can make a decision and not have to put neighbors at odds over something that may or may not go. So we'll try to get it scheduled. If we do move forward with the vote and we get enough response, people saying, yeah, we really would like to see this go to a vote, and the board says, okay, yeah, let's have a vote. That'll be a decision the board makes. Do we bring the vote or not? If the board says, yes, we're going to have the vote, it'll be placed on the agenda. Everybody will be notified about it. We'll have that pushing forward, and then we'll provide you with a ballot after a short meeting presentation where we go through this kind of information. We'll have a question and answer session where you can stand up, make a statement about what you think should or should not happen, that kind of thing. Ask a few questions, and then we'll move on to the vote. We'll provide you with a ballot. The ballot will be explained that night as well. Again, people will be allowed to bring proxies in. Revocable proxy just means if you give your proxy to your neighbor and then you can make it to the meeting, the proxy gets shredded, you get to vote on your own. And everybody will get, I may have said it before, but everybody will get a proxy or a ballot for each proxy. So if you have 2 neighbors who want to vote for it and 2 neighbors who want to vote against it, you can represent each of them equally. First level of the ballot is going to talk about yes or no to the service and the dues increase. Second part of the ballot will be, here's your options. So here's an example of what the ballot will look like. It's not exactly what it's going to look like because it's not been fully drafted up, obviously, but this is the basics. Section 1, it'd be, hey, do you want to have the service? Motion to increase the dues and let the neighborhood be taken over, not to exceed, in this case, currently not to exceed $192 increase, total of $43,968, because you've got 229 single-family homes carrying an extra $192. That increases the overall budget by that much, and that money would be used for the trash service. If in the future, for whatever reason, the HOA gives up the trash service, then the dues, that money needs to be reduced out again. That needs to go out. So that might even be something we write into the motion. A term, for a term not to exceed the time which the HOA provides this service or something. And a yes and a no to that. If you vote no, you would then move down to section 2 and still vote for what type of service. If you vote yes, obviously you'll slide down to section 2. The reason I say that is if you vote no and you say, well, I'm not even going to fill out the rest of it, if the yes vote passes, the second half will be decided off of whoever fills it out. So if everybody comes in and votes yes, but only one person marks option 1, we'll just count that one person and they get to choose for everybody what kind of service we get. If you come in and vote no, I don't want the service, and you don't fill out that second section, the people who voted yes will also decide what kind of service you're getting. So if you want the small container, if you're going to get stuck with the service anyways because everybody voted in, you might as well vote down on what you want down there. So section 1, yes or no, and then option 2 is going to be your choices between that small container and the large container. Both of them get twice a week pickup. Both of them have once a week recycling. It's just a cost difference. So your dues would either go up by $175.68 per year, $43.92 per quarter, or they would go up by $192 per year, $48 per quarter. Now, of course, remember, you're canceling your current service, so the money that you were paying to your trash service, you're now paying into the HOA, and again, you should either see a reduction of some sort in your cost, or you should be seeing a slight increase in your yearly cost that you were paying for trash service. However, you are seeing a change as far as your service. So hopefully that provides everybody with something moving forward. What's included in all this service? That's going to be one of the questions. Everybody's going to stand there and say, well, wait a minute, my current guy does this, or the people that I have, they won't do that, or they will do that. What are we going to get? So what's included? You're going to get twice per week collection. You're going to get the bags that you sit beside the container. If you have a couple extra bags, you can set them beside the container. They'll pick those up for you. They're not going to they actually touch the container and dump it. It's not a big arm coming up and picking it up. So if you have 2 extra bags and you sit them beside it, not a problem. They'll take those along with them. After they've collected the trash, they're going to close the lid and return the containers to where they were initially placed. So if you wheel it out to the curb, they're going to come get it, dump all your trash, pick up the 2 bags you left laying beside it. They're going to close the lid up, wheel it back over, and place it there. Once per week, they're going to come through and do recycling. Unlimited collections on that. They do collect the boxes. They close the lids after collections if you have the large containers. They'll return the containers to where they were initially placed. So that'll be taken care of. Once per week, you're going to have yard waste collection available, where you can put out up to 6 bags of grass clippings, leaves, or leaves. You can supply your own container if you need to. Service includes a collection of branches. They will do bush bundles at arm's length as long as they're with rope or twine, and they will pick up Christmas trees. We're going to have once per week bulk item collection. So they'll collect furniture, appliances, bulky items placed by the curb. So if you got a couch you've been trying to get rid of, or a mattress, or you've got an appliance of some sort that went dead and you're trying to get rid of, you can throw it out there, they'll take it. Last thing is, you will have the ability to call your company yourself and make complaints, request changes in service, equipment, whatever. You can also contact the homeowners association, the management company. You can reach out to the board if you're seeing an overall problem, but you will be able to call the company yourself. It won't be you call into the company and they say, sorry, we can't do nothing for you. You're going to have to go through your management company or go through the board. You will be able to do it yourself. So you'll still have that. You just won't get a bill from a trash company anymore. And that's it. I'll just leave that up there for a second while I finish out here. Again, I'm not for this. I'm not against it. Everybody has to make their own decision of what works for their family. I merely want to provide the information to the neighborhood so that you can make a decision. The board is happy to try to do some sort of a vote, some sort of a plan, put it out there to the neighborhood. There's no reason to get angry and think that we're trying to shove something down your throats that you don't want. If the neighborhood doesn't want it, that can be easily communicated by uh, nobody showing up to vote, or by everybody sending in proxies with one person who walks in and slaps down 200 no votes. Um, there's no ill will either way. Uh, what we hope is that at the end of this, everybody can say, one way or another, the board asked the neighborhood officially, and the neighborhood said yes or no. Hopefully there's enough information here to move forward. Of course, as always, amandglennhoa.com, amandglennhoa@gmail.com, Nextdoor and Facebook, and then YouTube. You can comment, you can send out information, you can message us. We try to be as available as possible. And of course, then there's Association Management Group, but you don't have to go through them. You always have the ability to reach directly out to your board at amandglennhoa@gmail.com.